I had a pretty good group. I mean, you know, Derek Jeter, he was 21 years old and far older than that emotionally. He was a very accountable young man with a great deal of character. And I had a lot of character guys. I had some characters too, but I had some character guys that really set the tone for playing for the New York Yankees.
But there you are, you take over '96. You talked about Derek Jeter. Did you have to fight the front office at all to leave camp with him as your shortstop? He'd been up a little bit in '95.
They told me he was going to be my shortstop, so that's the way I approached it. He was going to be my shortstop. And he didn't have very good spring. Some of the powers to be in the front office who were talking about he may not be ready. He may not be ready. And then they were talking about trading for another shortstop, and the piece they were going to use to trade to get maybe Felix Fermin from the Seattle Mariners was a guy named Mariano Rivera.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I wouldn't be sitting here today, I mean, if we made that deal, trust me. But at the end of spring training, I said, no, it's too late with Jeter. I mean, let's, you know, start the season. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but let's start the season. They relented, and basically we started the season with Derek as shortstop. I think he was batting 8th or 9th. And all he did opening day was hit a home run and make a back to the infield catch, and all of a sudden his career was off and running, and special kid.
What a great feather in your cap considering where you had been. Now your first year with the Yankees, clueless Joe, you win Manager of the Year, you go to the World Series, you lose Game 1, George Steinbrenner you're working for, you're facing Maddox in Game 2 against the Atlanta Braves, future Hall of Famer.
First of all, let me give you the background. I'm giddy at this point in time because I'm at the World Series. Never happened in my career. I mean, I, you know, paid for a ticket and did this and that and the other thing, but last game we play is on a Sunday. We're supposed to start the World Series on the following Saturday. We get rained out. So now we start the series on a Sunday. So now it's Sunday to Sunday. We haven't played. I don't know what to do. As a manager, I give them a day off. I don't want to do a simulated game. I don't want to get anybody hurt. I don't know what to do. So we work out, but we're flat. You know, we get killed in Game 1, Andy Pettitte, Andrew Jones hits a couple of home runs, and then George walks in my office before Game 2. And he said, "This is a must game." Well, no kidding.
It's the World Series, it's a best of 7.
No kidding. And I, as I said, I was giddy because I was relaxed. Trust me, I was relaxed because I had just reached the World Series. That's it. I mean, winning, sure, it'd be great. I say to George, we may even lose tonight. Maddox is pitching. I said, we're flat. We haven't played for 8 days. I said, but don't worry. I said, we're going to Atlanta. That's my town. We'll win 3 there, and we'll come back and win it for you Saturday night. And I walked out of the office. And
unbelievable.
Yeah. We're down 6-0 in the 4th game. And
down 2 games to 1.
And down 2 games to 1 in Atlanta. And they're world champs, by the way. They won the year before. And they come off the field after the bottom of the 4th or bottom of the 5th inning, my team. I said, guys, let's just cut the lead in half. That's all. Just cut the lead in half. We scored 3 runs.
That's half a 6.
I said, that's freaky at this point. It's freaky. And then, of course, Jim Leyritz is a 3-run home run.
Which looked a lot like this.
In the air to left field. Back at the track at the wall. We are tied.
I got goosebumps.
You get goosebumps?
I got goosebumps. And to this day, I don't know why he threw him a slider.
High-hanging slider. What was the mood like after that game? Because you can just see by the eruption out of that dugout that that thing changed with one swing.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was elation. I mean, you go from down 6-0 in a World Series and then have Jimmy hit the 3-run homer, who had been known for hitting magical home runs.
Right.
And then that game goes into extra innings. And Wade Boggs winds up walking with the bases loaded, and then we get an error, scores another run.
And what was going on in life was your brother Frank, this mentor, this protector, this needler, had been going through a heart transplant between games 5 and 6.
Between games 5 and 6, yeah.
So you're dealing with all this on the field, but life is there too. There you are visiting him in the hospital. How were you able to compartmentalize all of this?
Well, Frank was in the doctor's hands. You know, when we got home from Atlanta, because that was a real late game, and then I got a call like 6 o'clock in the morning. They found a donor because he was waiting for a heart, and proceeded to have the surgery the morning of the off day in game 6. And when I come back to the house, there was a message from my brother Frank. Now I had seen him earlier after the surgery. And the message was that he needed 2 tickets for the next day's game.
That's so Frank.
And I'm so Frank, you know, and I called the hospital and I talked to him, and he needed tickets for the doctor. I hate to think that they'd unplug him if I said no, I'm not gonna get these tickets. So, but that's Frank, you know. He was worried about somebody else and wanting to get him tickets to a ball game.
Okay, so let's review. Player, great player, all-star, manager, Mets, manager, Braves, manager, Cardinals, fired all 3 times, manager of the year in '96. And this is what it looked like in your first World Series when you won for the first time.
Another chance to the left side. Hayes waits. The Yankees are champions of baseball.
That's a shot of your sister in the stands. I remember wrapping up that World Series, staring into the camera, talking about your year individually, because not only was Frank going through a heart transplant, but you lost your brother Rocco that year as well. I mean,
June.
This was a year of ultimate highs and these incredible lows. And looking back on it, you have to be proud of the way you navigated all of that.
Yeah, that's when I choose to wear a World Series ring. I'll always wear the '96 ring because it was the first one. And you know, George is pretty much a stickler for when you make the rings that you put, you know, he designs it and puts, you know, what he wants on the ring, and it's usually tradition and courage and stuff. And that year I had asked him if he would consider having the word heart put on the ring, and it was. He allowed that to happen. So that's on the '96 ring.
As a tribute to your brother, Frank.
A tribute to my brother, and of course the team.